Now, it's been nearly 20 years since it came. In the dark of a night it came. Some said it came to be a challenge to him that would come. Optimists. But most of us knew the reason. It was because our great king, who prided himself on being the mightiest hunter in all of Achaea, had not made the due sacrifices to the gods. When he was out hunting lions, he had not sacrificed to their divinities, not been grateful enough. And so they pulled it. They pulled it out of some lost time. A creature it was. I saw it once, the time it attacked and killed my dad. I was at the hillside of the valley and had to watch it and then flee. My dad was a tall man, a fine bonesman in his day. Lion was twice as tall as him, and 3 times as long, with great writhing mane and huge great tusks for teeth, built more like a bear it was. And it used to jump from the rocks, which is where it always hunted. You always knew roughly where it were. It would go up, and in the shadow and in the shift, it would jump at you. But that was later, when my dad tried to hunt it down, taking me with him. He, one of the great hunters of Achaea. But before then, the lord of this land, he rode out one day, and the creature took his 2 sons, his finest sons, and he swore to get his revenge. For a full year he hunted it, but that was no good. One by one his huntsmen were killed, and in the end he didn't return. And so an edict was put out. All the greatest hunters came here to kill it, and it took them one by one. Only I stayed. I stayed just to watch it. Some dream that one day somebody will get revenge. And here I keep the sheep that are kept on the land, the wilderness it's created around itself. All the towns gone, all the villages fled. Well, you would flee if every time you climbed a hill, something could be there. And now mostly it stays in that centre, in those Ranger Hills where it has its cave. Now this all I knew when I heard rumour. Coming south, the stranger. Oh, rumour fled before him. He's coming. And as he came, everyone knew and whispered, he's come for the lion. He's come for the lion. Now I knew in the end he'd have to come and find me, so I didn't look for him. I'm the only one where it knows where it hides ever since it killed my dad. And sure enough, one day in a tavern, and he came in, all muscle bubbling and bow and sword of bronze and great club. And he said to me, I am told that you know where the lion is. Boys, just go up in the rocks, he'll attack you. I'd have no intention of doing that. For it is an animal in the end, and all animals flee to their lair when you come against them openly. Now, this was the first thing that made me impressed about him, because that was my dad's secret. You don't sneak against an animal, not when you know where it lives. Rather, you make a racket, make as if you are the great, fierce one, and it will always go back to its lair, so you can always find it. So I said, that's true. And he said, well, you and I shall pay you well. You don't require payment. This is my revenge. We'll go tomorrow, and we will hunt the creature down. And so it were. The next day, we went very slowly at first, for the forest had come down. Great olive trees that had once been plantations grew like so many twisted souls, and the cicadas played in the heat. The hot sun beat down, and all the while he kept a lookout, but at me drum as we went, making a noise so loud that the lion knew we were coming. But it did not attack, but rather slinked back to its dark lair. At last we came to that rock. It was on that rock I told him my dad was dead. If you looked, you could still see the skull. And around that rock, the other side, was the cave. I stopped drumming then and waited. And he notched an arrow. But I thought to myself, oh well, he hadn't been listening. I did tell him that the thing couldn't be shot. My father was a mighty bowman, and he had arrows made of bronze. And it was true, he did. And as a signal, the huntsman had me light a torch. And he and me, we stood out, but in front of the rock, to the great, looking at last at the great cave. And there, as we knew it would be, in front of the cave, was the great lion. And when it saw us, it stood up and all its ackle. Twang went the huntsman's bow. The arrow just bounced off the lion, and on it came 3 bounds. Now, I'm not good enough for that fight. I ducked behind the rock, thinking to myself, well, I'll save myself if I have to. I ran a little way down the path, to that bit where if you crane your neck carefully around the wood, you can just see the cave. And there was the huntsman, the hero. And he had got out his bronze sword and he struck a huge blow on the lion, but it didn't stop it. His bronze sword was nothing to its eye, nothing! And it came towards him. Its great throat was now so close to him that one more spring, it would be on him, overwhelming him. Twice its size it was, twice! And he took out last his club, but it brushed the club aside and leapt upon his face, biting down deep. And then in desperation he took his great hands and he tore his thumbs tighten about his neck. And he squeezed and squeezed, and I heard it choke. I moved back and lifted it off his head. And gradually, slowly, although it lunged forwards again and again and again, suddenly, the roll of thunder, and fell back, there upon the rocks, dead. I came up a minute or two later and said, oh, well done. And he said, yes, I have to take the corpse back to prove it's dead. Well, it's a pity. You know what my father would have done? He would have skinned that lion. I have already thought of that. My little man. But you saw one of my blades could cut it. And then I pointed to its claws, for it had long claws, each sharper than a dagger, made almost of bronze they seemed. And I said, well, I've always admired its claws from afar. What about them? That is no bad idea. And we took then the claws, and we slit the lion open. And he gave me a claw for my pain. 5 great daggers I've made for it, curved and dangerous. And he took the lion back, declaring his triumph all the way.